What is up, everyone? Welcome to another Speedcast interview session. I am your host, Zoom CW, also known as Julio. Today I have a very special guest, a multi-talented actor. You know him as the Dragon King on DC Stargirl, which has been a huge hit. Um, and I'm a true fan of this gentleman's acting. He is great. He is none other than Nelson Lee, amazing actor. So let's go ahead and get him on the live.
What's up,
Nelson,
man? How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. How are you, man?
I'm good. Hanging in there. Hanging in. How you doing?
Hey, man, I'm so I'm doing well. I'm so happy to have you on my Speedcast. Thank you so much, Nelson. Um, are you out here on the West Coast or are you on the East Coast?
You know, it's funny. I am usually based in LA, but I'm actually in the middle of quarantine right now in Toronto. So they have that 2-week quarantine. I'm okay. Don't worry. But just to be safe and everything. But yeah, so I've just been kind of bouncing off the walls here. So this is great. Gives me something to do.
Awesome, man. I myself, I work at a hospital, and thank God the numbers have been dropping out here in LA. I'm hoping that they stay down. We are coming up on, unfortunately, flu season, right? So, but I'm glad to hear that you're working, and I'm glad that they're taking precautions. How has that transition been to all these precautions that all the studios are taking now?
It's interesting. I finished a film a couple months ago. We shot in Big Bear. Total kind of isolation. We filmed at this beautiful camp, and for 28 days we couldn't leave. We ate camp food like 3 times a day. It was actually amazing, and they took it super serious. Because the thing is that they need to make us feel safe, and then eventually, it's work like usual. You just have to take an extra step. Everything's a little slower. There's going to be a lot of, I guarantee you there's going to be so many movies and television shows with people with like masks hanging out of their pockets. Because the thing is, after a while, you forget. You're like rolling. You're like, oh, I'm sorry. I got to take this off.
Yeah.
That you have it on. But yeah, it's a weird trip, but it's going to be like that for like the next couple of years, I think. So this is part of our lives. We just got to get used to it.
Yeah. When you guys are filming scenes, when you have to do a scene with another actor,
Yeah.
are they keeping you like 6 feet apart, or are they
No,
maybe doing some trick camera work?
So basically, the way we shot it was kind of in zones. So we'd have our mask off until the last moment, and then you take it off, and then you do the scene pretty close, but not. They didn't allow us to do anything intimate, so there's no kissing, there's no whatever. You're doing little touching, but yeah, it's crazy. Like you're doing intimate scenes, but you're just like, I can't kiss you, but more. But it's one of those things. But yeah, so everyone else is, once we take that off, we're the most dangerous and the most in danger at the same time. But it's weird, you got people, we're miking ourselves, we're in charge, that's hilarious. You got people with like double masks. It's weird, but we want everyone to be safe. So
That's awesome, man. I was talking to Katie Sears about this a while back. There was a lot of talk about getting actors' significant other or their boyfriend, girlfriend to maybe, be the stunt double for like an intimate scene. Maybe
yeah,
put a wig on your significant other and then
yeah.
kiss, them instead of the actor, right?
Yeah. Well, it's funny you
Have you
say
heard of
that.
that? Or?
Well, actually, the film we shot, 2 of the actors were very talented. Just happened to be also in a relationship together. And the one scene where they had to be kissing, they did it. So it was like perfect, Yeah, it's kind of hilarious. But yeah, that's the only way to really do it safely because you're already living together.
Yeah, that's true, man. You wanna take all the safety precautions. I believe Chris Hemsworth made that famous, right? I believe in one of the Thor movies, instead of kissing, I always call her Padme, but
Oh yeah, yeah.
I can, that scene where
Natalie Portman. Yeah.
Natalie Portman, right? He kisses her and he really gets, really intimate. He gets into it. Little did we know that was his real life wife that he was kissing in
Awesome.
that scene.
Actually, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
I was like, whoa, that they're really
Hey,
going to
Chris, take it easy.
town.
Back off a little bit.
Hey man, so Nelson, congratulations on Stargirl, the
Thank you.
Dragon King. You are the man.
Thank you so much.
Man,
Thank you.
amazing work, bro. Let me just say, you nailed it. You killed it.
Thank you.
You guys got rave reviews. I loved it. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah.
I'm a huge DC guy, huge Arrowverse guy, and I don't know if you saw some of the content that I post, but I'm a
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
Flash fan.
Yeah.
And man, you guys reminded me of, and I've told this to all your colleagues, man. I've said, it doesn't look like something that you would see on streaming or TV.
Yeah.
It looks like something you would see on the big screen.
Yeah.
Can you talk about a little bit about that?
Yeah, and I think because we didn't really know where it was going to go, and I think Jeff Johns, our commander, my friend, he's the greatest guy. He has great vision, and I think he just wanted it to be one level up. So it didn't, we never. I think when you set up to make a television show, sometimes you can do that and make it look a little too television-y. And I think we were meaning to make something really big, almost cinematic. And especially that opening sequence when you're flying in that fight, you're watching him drive through. It's so epic. First time we all saw it, we're all like, "Oh, this is amazing!" It's so beautiful, and yeah, it's such an honor to be a part of it. And I think the fact that we didn't know where we were going, like we were going to HBO Max, we did DC, we ended up on CW, and I think it gave us a lot of freedom. We weren't trying to be like, because I think a lot of times you see these shows and they try to just look like all the other shows, and that's why it starts getting boring. It's like, oh, let's just make it look like that, and it sucks because you want every show to have its own kind of signature, and I think ours definitely does.
Man, I mean, I could have totally been in the theater watching this, man. I mean, it's like you guys filmed a 13-part movie. It
Yeah,
has that feeling, and I've read that Jeff Johns has said that he's going to keep the same production value, or he's going to bring the same feeling to season 2, which I'm very excited about. But what's the feedback that you've been getting, man? I mean, when you took that Dragon King role, man, and you made it your own, let me just tell you something.
thank
You
you.
were so dark, dude. You were so dark. And I just loved your performance. Where did you go, man, to get that darkness? What was your inspiration?
I mean, a lot of the job is kind of done when you put on that suit. I mean, it's a crazy. I mean, throughout the time we were just talking about, obviously, it's so hard to take something that crazy and bring it to life. And they just nailed it. Like LJ and the Super Suits team, they just like throughout the time of us trying it on, putting it on, it just got darker and darker and darker and closer to our, what we were supposed to get to. And once at the end we put it on, it's crazy. You're like covered in blood, and you got this huge hood, and once we put in the eyes, because we weren't dead set on that right from the beginning. We're like, we should have, first it was gonna have human eyes, and we're like, let's get deep, dragon eyes. And then, but those were those things. And then we got on set, and then we finally found the voice and everything locked. That's when it all just started singing. But yeah, it's so much of it is that costume. I got to give it. And and the layer, like sometimes you really just have to show up and just like not fall down, which I did quite often because it's very hard to walk backwards in a cape. I realized.
I mean, was that suit? I mean, how comfortable was the suit overall? I mean, the prosthetics were just amazing,
Yeah.
but how come? I mean, were you? I know it's uncomfortable, but what did they do to keep you as comfortable as possible? I guess is what I'm asking.
It was hot as Hades in there, Julio. But I mean, but there's amazing machine called it's like a fan, an industrial fan. It was made by Makita, like Makita, the drill company, and I just always called it Makita. And Makita was instrumental in keeping me alive because between every take, you just kind of like take that hood out and just like aim it up. But no, it was hot in there. And it was like we were shooting in Atlanta in the summer. Like there were days I give all my credit to my stunt double. He killed it. And I mean, he just like, there were days I was like, how is he not passing out? Because I almost passed out doing like very low. I was like, yeah. I was like, I got stuff. But yeah, no, it's hard in there, but it's hard being a villain. Luckily, I'm a lair villain, not a outside street in the day villain. Dragon King would just be like on the ground.
Were you? How many calories were you burning? I mean, were you
Oh,
like?
dude.
Were you
Oh
telling
yeah.
the were you telling the staff to get you some pancakes
Oh,
from the catering service to get all those calories back?
seriously, no joke. Like more over when we were shooting, my pants got like looser and looser by the end. Like Dragon King's pants were always falling down just because you're literally in a sauna. You're just like because every time we took it off, and I had this amazing team helping me all the time. You know, getting my boots on. It takes like so many people to get me into that suit. And then I had someone like a lens tech, just whose only job is to rotate my eyes because every time I blink, my eyes would like rotate. And so sometimes it would look ridiculous, and then she'd always have to come in and just like, okay, look up, and then to move my eyes over. And yeah, no, but every time we took off that suit, it was like drenched. It was like someone poured a bucket of water over my head. Yeah.
You didn't feel guilty eating any bad stuff afterwards, right? You're like, oh man, I can eat
No.
whatever I want
Oh
right now.
no. When there was Chick-fil-A day, I was like, get out of my way.
Give me that spicy deluxe right now, man.
Exactly.
That's awesome. How long did it take to put the prosthetics? Was it like a couple of hours or?
Well, the main one when we did the reveal, that was like 5 hours. So that was a long time, and they were amazing. The team that did it. But when I did my normal thing, which was usually, in the beginning we had panda eyes because they all have the black, but for me I have to have like the lizard eyes. So they have this little prosthetic that's like just around here. And in the beginning, it still took like about an hour to get that on. But by the end, just like everything else, they just figured out a way to get it 15 minutes. So it was much easier. Basically it was just like stuck on my face. Whereas before it was like really, really meticulously done. But yeah, it takes a lot. It's crazy. And you walk around all day and you kind of forget that you've got this like crazy thing around your head. But
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
But when we did the main prosthetics, man, that was crazy. It was so worth it. Like it was, it looked
That scene,
amazing.
dude.
Woo.
That reveal was like we're all watching it here in my house, my family, and as soon as we saw your face finally, we just went like,
Oh
it was
yeah,
that kind of reaction. It was like, wow.
yeah,
Did how did everyone act? I mean, did you guys keep that from the rest of the cast so
oh
that they
yeah,
couldn't see
oh
you?
yeah, yeah. When we like, I've been working on that, so Jeff knew, a few of us knew, and obviously the special effects team knew. So we were just working on it the whole time. But the whole time we knew we had this big reveal coming around 110. And so it was awesome just getting up to it. But once we went through different versions of it, and then by the end we just landed on that. I remember there's one day we did a test just to to have everyone see it, but we still kept a secret from the rest. And it's insane. Like I'm going around like in a hoodie with this head. But it was a trip, man. And when people finally saw it, like they were like, "Oh my god!" Because I've got these teeth, and it was so cool. I mean, they're amazing. The team behind it, it's amazing what they do. I literally just laid there, and they just like put it on me.
That's awesome, man. I'm sure there was people in the cast that were trying to get a sneak peek right before the scene. They're like, "Hey,
Oh
can we
yeah,
look?"
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I might have snuck some pictures and like showed some of the cast. I was like, "Look at this." But, yeah, no.
That's awesome, man. You've been in a couple of big productions recently. Of course, Stargirl, and you're also in a little film called Mulan. Uh,
Yeah, that little Disney thing.
a little film that you just did. Huge production. Can you talk about the differences? Were they on the same level, different level? Can you talk a
Well,
little bit about that?
yeah, I mean, it's always different. When you're dealing with film and television, television you have this schedule and you're doing like months and months. Even though Mulan was also like 6 months, but Mulan's just such a different thing. Just because I mean, I've never been anything that epic. Like that's a $200 million movie, and it's just huge. Like when I got to New Zealand, you get over there shooting in these beautiful vistas, again beautiful costumes, and same thing, man. You just like get on these sets and you're like, wow, like I am in Mulan and this is so cool. And you're just trying not to kind of freak out and you're like, you can do this, you can do this. But yeah, no, I mean, look, they both have their things. I love doing Stargirl, but yeah, Mulan was a whole different kind of animal, and it was so rewarding.
When you were out there in New Zealand, were you thinking on the back of your mind, were you thinking to yourself, man, this is where they shot Lord of the Rings?
Oh
Were you
yeah.
thinking anything like that?
Heck yeah. I mean, that's weird. A lot of the areas like you're driving by, you're like, oh, look at that. That looks so much. You know, I took so many pictures. Like I was that annoying person, like stopping the car everywhere we went, like, oh, there it is. Look, you know, there was actually a place where, you know, the kind of like the Shire, and I have friends that live in New Zealand, and they're like, I will not take you there. I was like, really? They're like, I will drive around and kick you out and pick you up later on, but I will not get off and go to this terrible area. I was like, all right, fine. Yeah, there's a lot of parts that look, it's totally straight out of the movie, but that's why they shot there. It's epic. Like you don't have to do anything. Like some of our backdrops, you're like, that looks fake. Like that looks CG, and it's real. But it's stunning.
Yeah, it was epic. I gotta ask you, you know, you've been in a couple of my two favorite shows of all time. You've been on Hawaii Five-0.
Okay, yeah.
You've been on also on NCIS New Orleans.
Yeah.
You know, so you've been around. You've been doing this for a while. So I can call you a veteran actor. You're a professional veteran actor. And you know, like I was telling Eric Goins, I was telling him, you know, that I'm so happy for you guys because you guys are finally getting the recognition that you deserve. You know, how does that feel to be part of you know, two big productions like this where they're saying, hey, that's Nelson Lee, man, that guy is amazing. How does that feel? Is it rewarding to finally get your due?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You know, and the funny thing is, you people don't realize that, you know, I've been doing this for like 20 years, and it's, you know, it's a real hard struggle sometimes, and you know, you fight and fight and fight, and yeah, it's amazing, it's super rewarding when you get these victories. And the thing I've learned up to this point now, after, you know, back in the day when I was a kid out of school, I booked something right away. I was like, see you later, suckers. You know, and then you just like realize, can't remember how many times I quit my bar job and then came right back like, hi, I'm back. But you know, but it's now I you know, take time to really celebrate and, you know, accept that this is something really wonderful. But I'd never go like, done. You know, I just like, okay, let's focus on the next thing and let's get going. You know, because I think it's really easy to celebrate too early, or to be like, oh no, I've done it. You know, and because the whole thing in this industry is about keeping going on to the next thing, and having a good mindset. But yeah, I definitely take time to be like, wow, that's an amazing accomplishment, and I'm super proud of these things. And especially during this time, you know, it's nice to have something positive to think about. And I think that's the great thing, you know, if anything came out of this, I'm glad that people, you know, were able to watch both Mulan and Stargirl during these kind of crazy times. And I'm glad they were able to do it safely, not be forced to go out to a theater or anything like that. So.
Well said, and thank you so much, you know, because we definitely needed you guys. I needed Stargirl, you know, during this pandemic, and it just, we were so addicted to it, and my wife was always asking me, did it release yet? Did it release yet? You know, on DC Universe, did it release yet? Did it release yet? I'm like, not yet. You know, you gotta wait. It's once a week, you know. And she's like, okay, I want to see it now. You know, what happens next? And one of the things that I told Eric is that I'm truly happy for you guys, and you know, and thank you so much for your amazing work. And we definitely needed it. And you know, you're on Stargirl. There were no filler episodes. They were all amazing content. And I'm not trying to knock the filler episodes on other, you know, Arrowverse shows, but you know, the ones that do 22 episodes, those are great. But with this one, it was like, hey, give me more, give me more, give me more. So I'm truly happy for you. So I got to ask you this, the diversity of the cast. I love the diversity, man. And we desperately need diversity in Hollywood. And with the Stargirl cast, we see diversity. Can you talk about a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think having people of color in front of the camera, behind the camera, in production is something that we've been fighting for a long time, and have for a very long time, and will be for a very long time. But I think shows like Stargirl are good steps. You know, we have a lot of people of color in the cast, a lot of people of color directing in the writer's room. And I think that's how you do it. You know, you can't just have a little bit of a show like, oh, we have one person of color. Good enough. You have to have it throughout the entire infrastructure so that it really shows and can further everyone, you know, because the door cracks open a little bit, it can swing shut real fast, you know, and we have to do everything we can to keep people of color and stories that represent that in the foreground. But and you're seeing that, I mean, just also like things like Mulan, you have a completely Asian Chinese cast in a huge blockbuster movie, and that's huge, you know, that's a massive step that you just didn't see before, because people were like, oh, do they, you know, let's make Mulan white, you know, it's one of those things, and you've seen that time and time again. But it's good that people are starting to realize that there are stories that need to be told and people that want to watch those stories.
Very, very well said. And Nelson, you know, the reason I bring that up is because when I saw, and I'm not trying to knock Captain Marvel, which is another comic-based, you know, movie, but when I took my kids to the theater to see Captain Marvel, you know, they do a throwback to the 1990s scene, right, where they're supposedly in downtown LA. We know that they filmed it like in Australia somewhere, and you know, there's a scene where she's in the subway, and in 1991, you know, I grew up in LA. I know there was a lot of Mexican Americans in downtown LA, and you know this. And we're looking at the subway, we're like, okay, where are all the raza? Where's all the Mexican Americans? It's all white people in the subway. I was like, what the heck's going on?
Well, that used to be, I remember I used to think that about Friends. It was like, you're in New York City and they're all white? I was like, where? Even in Upper West Side, I'm seeing some people of color. Like, where are you guys?
You know, so I'm so happy that Stargirl addresses that, and they made it very realistic. You know, I know that it's based out of, you know, it's supposed to be Blue Valley, Nebraska, and you guys are filming down in Georgia, but you know, I love the fact that you guys have the diversity. I just that's something that I truly appreciate. You know, to you guys, to you, to the cast, to the production, to Jeff Johns, everyone that's involved.
With I mean, it all comes to around, you know, Jeff Johns. You know, Jeff created this beautiful thing in honor of his sister, brought us all in, created this new family. I mean, we owe it all to Jeff, and that's why I think, you know, we care about it so much. It means a lot to us, so we just try to do our best, and it means so much, man, that it means so much to you and to the fans, like it really does. Like, to see how excited you get, it's emotional. It's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, man. It's, you know, and when we see, you know, Yvette on there, Yvette representing that makes us so proud. And, you know, and when I see you representing, and that just, you know, it's great to see, man. I mean, you know, great work. Before you started this show, because I know Jeff, you and Jeff did Blade together, right, years ago?
And Jackson, me and Neil Jackson also. That's that's how the gang first started. Yeah, back in like 2005, which is insane. And that show, you know, I love that show. I mean, also, you know, there was nothing like that. We were ahead of. I know people always say that, like, ahead of its time, but it kind of was. We were kind of the first Marvel television show before Marvel was even Marvel. You know, it wasn't Marvel Studios yet. They hadn't taken the gamble. I think they were just about taking the gamble on Iron Man. And but yeah, no, it was so much fun. We were on the wrong network. We're on Spike TV. But you know, but even that, like, we had decent viewership, and it was a ton of fun. I mean, playing vampires, running around, like, you know, it was awesome. You know, it was kind of a dream come true back then. And also the great thing was meeting Neil, who's still a dear friend, and Jeff was a dear friend. So to have us all come back together in season 1 was awesome.
Yeah, man, Neil was awesome, man.
Thank you.
I got a chance to chat with him, and he's just an amazing human being. And I told him the same thing, man. I told him I'm very, you know, I'm very happy for him. Did Jeff Johns just call? Because he called Neil for this one. Did he just call you and say, "Hey, dude, I got this part. You gotta play"?
Yeah, I mean, he called and he just like, "Hey, I really want you to, you know, take a look at this and try for this." And totally gave me a call. And it was great to hear from him, because I hadn't heard from him for a while. I mean, he's a little busy, kind of running DC.
Having hit movies, Wonder Woman and Aquaman.
And then Green Lantern, whatever. He's raising a family, whatever. He's such a lazy person. Yeah, it was just awesome to hear. And also, you know, the cool thing was I knew how much Stargirl meant to him. And also I honestly didn't know anything about Dragon King. had to go and read All-Star Squadron, and then obviously Stargirl to see how he plays in that. So that was exciting, just to be able to like take something that hasn't been done, very little, and bring it to life. You know, that was exciting. And to do it with friends, that's the best thing you could have.
That, man, like I said, you guys are amazing actors. I love your work. Great show. So I got to talk about a little bit about Dragon King now.
Yeah.
So, you know, Dragon King, and for those of you who haven't seen Stargirl yet, spoiler alert, he had a little bit of a rocky relationship with his daughter. So, you know, Sandy Bergman. So can we talk a little bit about that dynamic between you and Meg? Did you guys do any chemistry reads or anything like that prior to filming your scenes? How did that? Because that friction looks real, man. That friction was amazing. It does look like a father that, you know, really didn't, you know, pay too much attention to his daughter, didn't care too much about her feelings, but experimented on her, if you will. Can you talk a little bit about that dynamic?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, definitely. I mean, all the work was done by amazing casting. You know, Meg is amazing. So we didn't have any chemistry reads. We kind of just showed up and started working. And I think that's the great thing about our whole cast. Like the instant we had our first table read, we all just gelled. Like you can hear just by the read that this is going to be awesome. And so yeah, and Dragon King definitely is not going to win any Father of the Year awards. Like, you know, he takes his daughter and he just like uses her like a lab rat, even though she's a successful experiment. She's doing well. But, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of experiments that didn't go so well, myself included. I mean, look at me. I turned myself into a freaking lizard. But that was not intentional. But, yeah, but I think it's a really fun dynamic to play because you have this super dark character. And then you have him with his daughter who's in high school, you know, just like talking about boys and whatever else, and I don't care. I just do your thing and leave me alone. Just come back for me to experiment on. But yeah, it's such a cool dynamic, and I think that's the fun thing about the whole show. The fact that you have this little, like, you know, high school kind of life, and then you have this like underground ISA villains running around doing stuff. So yeah, that was a fun dichotomy to have.
And you know, I thought that it was very emotional. It was very deep, you know, and I thought that, you know, the fact that she wanted the fatherly love, that's all she wanted from her dad. She wanted approval, and when she didn't get it, you know, and she acted up to get your attention, I thought that was something that you see in real life now, especially with the pandemic. You know, you see a lot of these teenagers that are locked up and are going through mental issues, you know, because of the pandemic. I thought that was just very, you know, very deep. And the response that she gave you, I think that speaks a lot to what's going on today.
Yeah, I mean, at the heart of so much of our show, right, is about family. You know, be it like superheroes or just normal family, it's all has the same kind of friction and yeah, expectations and failures and yeah, so it is interesting. Like, all she wants is a father's love, and it's something that is so foreign to me. The fact that I keep her alive is you know, I do think I love her in the way that Dragon King can love a daughter. You know, but it's like I love her because she's my prized experiment. You know, and you know, that's why it's so easy for me just to shut off. But when you're 100 years old, you tend to kind of numb a lot of things. So, yeah, so I don't think he's gonna give any birthday cards.
Yeah, your character was born in 1901, if I'm correct.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know, you suffered an ill fate there on 13.
Yeah.
That was not expected.
Yeah.
I recently interviewed, you know, Mark Ashworth, who plays Sir Justin.
Yeah, of course. Such an amazing actor, such a great guy, and such a fun role, right?
He's such a cool dude, man. You know, and his character is seeking revenge on you, man, because
I took his
you know
Pegasus. And I made him a minion. I mean, he's got a good beef. He's got a good reason.
So there's some unfinished business there. Now, I know that you signed an NDA, Nelson. So I know you can't give me much, but I'm going to read something to you, and just smile or blink your eyes if there's something you can disclose. If you can't, I totally understand.
Yeah.
So let me read this to you. Uh, Shiro Ito is a deadly and mysterious hooded doctor and a controversial scientist who has been experimenting on himself, which you alluded to, since the 1900s. He was thought to have been executed in 1947 after his science was responsible for mass plagues and deaths. So, Dr. Ito has also altered his DNA to become a human-reptile hybrid. Cindy Berman, whose extensive experiments at the hands of Shiro creates friction between them, which we discussed. His involvement with the ISA and recklessness with his daughter eventually leads to his impalement at the hands of Cindy, which we just discussed. This is the part that gets interesting. However, due to the experimentation that he has performed on himself over the years, his fate is left unclear because you have the power to regenerate and heal. So, with that said, Mark kind of gave me he kind of hinted that he's going to be back for season 2.
Mm-hmm.
No confirmation. Is there anything you can tell us about what I just read? You don't have to confirm anything. Is there anything you can tell us, Nelson, in regards to your healing ability, your character's healing ability?
I mean, all I can say, Julio, is, crazier things have happened. But, you never know with the Dragon King.
That's all. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Thank you so much. I gotta ask you about this. I know you've been to Comic-Con in the past with Blade, right?
Yeah, that was so much fun.
I mean, I know because of the pandemic, unfortunately, we couldn't have one this year. Are you looking forward to seeing cosplayers cosplay as the Dragon King?
Absolutely. I want to tell them, be careful, hydrate, get lots of electrolytes, because you will fall down. But yeah, it's not easy. But yeah, I can't wait to see that. It'd be so much fun. But yeah, no,
I can't wait to see you.
Comic-Con is like the best. I mean, have you ever been? It's like so much fun. The fans are voracious, and it's so cool.
What was there when you were growing up? Did you read comics, or did you?
Yeah.
Who was your guy? Like who did you read, or what did you watch? Did you watch like Super Friends or anything like that?
I didn't watch a lot of TV. We didn't have a TV for a little while, but I did. I read a lot of Batman, a lot of Daredevil actually, and a lot of Spider-Man and X-Men. So those were kind of my ones that I did. But a lot of it was Daredevil actually. I loved Daredevil, and I loved Batman. Batman as a kid was just, I wasn't huge into Superman. I did have a couple, but, I had a couple Hawkman as well. But I did have a Flash. I remember back, there was like a toy store that I used to love going into, and it was all too expensive for me. But I go and play. They had a little Flash, and he squeeze his arms, his legs would go like this. And I was like always trying. I wanted it so bad. But yeah, I never got it. But yeah,
that's cool.
I loved comics back then. It's funny. My parents moved out. I was trying to find all of them. I was like, where did you put them? Because I had so many. And my mom was like, I don't know. I'm like, did you throw them out? Because they're worth something. But yeah.
my mom did the same thing, man. She gave my stuff away.
Yeah, the thing is, how can you not remember giving away crates of comics? She was like, I don't know. I was like, okay.
She gave away my vinyl too, man. She gave all my vinyl away.
Oh no, that's crazy.
Broke my heart, man. But.
Yeah, she also I think got rid of all my toys. I had all these I had cool kind of collector toys and my skateboard decks, all my skateboards. I was like what kid got all of this stuff? Was there a kid that came by? You're like, here you go.
Some lucky kid got that, man. And I mean, if it was given to the Goodwill, some poor unfortunate maybe kid got it. And that's.
Well, if it went to Goodwill, I wouldn't feel that bad.
I had to buy my Voltron 30th anniversary because my mom gave my Voltron away. That was I was like,
Dude,
oh my God, Voltron.
Voltron was one of those. I wanted that toy so badly. I got frostbite in my ear once because my friend BJ McKelvey, I still remember his day, had the Voltron, and after school I was like, "Can I come over and play with it?" But it was like a huge winter storm in East Coast Canada, and I'm like trudging out like a little kid, and I get lost because it's a whiteout, and I'm so lost, and I'm cold, and I just like sit in the middle of the road, and this person drives by. I was like, "Where are you going? Like, what are you doing?" I was like, "I just don't know where I am." And they take me to his house, and I'm like, my ears are frostbitten. I'm like, Voltron. Totally worth it. Totally worth it.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. So I gotta ask you, what got you into acting? What was it? Was there a particular movie, a particular series, or anything that you saw that inspired you? Um, was there anything that, or was it just like when you were at school, did you get into theater? How did you get into the business?
I mean, I guess, growing up, obviously, not obviously, but my hero was Bruce Lee, and for many reasons. The martial artist, the philosopher, the man that looked like me that was on television, which, still to this day, no one, I mean, it's an amazing feat that no one has really surpassed Bruce Lee's kind of status as an Asian man to kind of take that, that lead. And yeah, as a kid watching him, I was always starstruck and so inspired. But yeah, it took me a long time. My road to acting was, not straight and was long and winding. But yeah, I did a lot, did plays in school and stuff like that. But I never had the courage to say, this is what I'm going to do, because it took too much courage back then. And wasn't until I was like a bit older and I was living in Europe that I was like, you know what? I kept coming back to like, what made me happy? What made me happy? And I was like, doing plays, performing. And finally I had the guts to apply to school in New York, and yeah, I got in and just kept going. But you always have that doubt because it's hard. Being an artist is not an easy gig. Anyone who tells you that is lying. But it takes a lot, and I think the only people that can stay in it, it's out of love, because you take so many hits for so few celebrations. But it's what makes it so sweet when you get to celebrate.
And I think that's what makes you such a great actor, Nelson, because you go through the adversity. You might not get certain roles, but that makes you stronger, and those obstacles make you stronger, because you see that, I mean, the love is still there, and you still go out and you reach for these roles. And like you said, when you get these roles, it's so satisfying, and I'm so happy for you, man. You mentioned Bruce Lee. He was one of my heroes growing up.
Yeah.
I would always look forward to Kung Fu Theater.
Yeah.
Right? You remember that Kung Fu Theater?
Yeah.
I mean, that was, I mean, and then every now and then we would get, the wannabe, I can't remember what his name was. Bruce Lee,
The Bruce
right?
Lee with an eye. I remember seeing those like, get out of here. What are you doing?
I was like, there's that Bruce Lee. What the heck is this, man?
You're not fooling anybody, buddy.
But working on Mulan, there was another actor on that, a famous actor that I just dearly love. A lot of people know him as Ip Man. Bruce Lee's sensei. So Donnie Yen. There's people that are either part of Donnie Yen's camp, or they're part of Jet Li's camp. I love both of them, but I tend to lean a little bit more towards Donnie Yen. Did you get to meet him, or did you get to pick his brain at all?
I mean,
how was that?
It was amazing. Look, I mean, I grew up with both of their movies, and I mean, I was a little older, but Jet definitely had a little more, but yeah, Jet. All my scenes were with Jet, which was amazing. I mean, and then Donnie was always around, and they're both such amazing actors, and just great to be around. And yeah, legends, man. I mean, that's one of the things about Mulan. I was working with legends like Gong Li, one of the best actresses in China, just completely steals that movie. And then also talking about Bruce Lee, getting to work with Jason Scott Lee, who crushed it on Dragon. Crushed it. I mean, when I first got on set, for like weeks, I couldn't admit to him how much I just loved him in Dragonfly. I was like, all right, I gotta tell you, I'm geeking out a little bit because you're so good on Dragon. You totally got it. Those are big shoes to fill, to portray the man that is Bruce Lee. But he did it. He did it well.
That's great that you were geeking out, dude. I got to give you kudos because I wouldn't be able to focus, man. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. No.
I'm working with, Jet Li and Donnie Yen
Yeah.
Jason Lee. But, did you mention to Jason, hey, man, I saw you in Back to the Future too. You were great in that.
Yeah. Exactly. It's funny. You always forget that he's in that. It's like, oh, Jesus got me. I mean, he's the greatest dude, and he's amazing in Mulan as well. I mean, like, it's just, he's the nicest guy. Such a good actor, man. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing, right? When you get to work with people like that, it's just an honor just to be able to stand in the same place with them. But you just hope you do all right. But yeah, no, it's so cool. And at the end of the day, too, you realize, oh, they're just people. Like, that whole kind of geeking out part subsides, and you're like, let's do some work. You know?
Yeah. That's awesome, man. And that's how great of an actor you are. And that's kudos to you because you stay focused, you stay in the zone, even though those are your heroes and people
Yeah.
that you admire. That takes a lot of professionalism and kudos to
Yeah.
you, man.
Thank you.
Um, are you cool with getting into some fan questions? We got a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah,
fan
yeah.
questions.
Yeah, yeah. Let's do it.
Cool. So here is the first one. Who would win in a fight between the Dragon King and the possessed Chancellor?
Oh, dang. I'd say Dragon King still would win. I mean, the witch is powerful, but I think Dragon King could take her.
Great answer. Great answer. What is your favorite part of playing a villain?
Hmm. It's just always so fun to play a villain, it's you're not bound by the rules of being good, and it's a little it's flashier. You just have you get to explore the dark part, that we all have, and just kind of play with it because none of us are like this in real life, but you get to do these terrible things, and it's always so much fun. I
That's
think
awesome, man.
yeah.
I think Mark was the one who told me that he went to a premiere of one of his movies and his mom, I remember which one. It was the one that he did with Tom Hardy and with Shia LaBeouf. And, he played such a bad, evil guy that his mom was looking at him like, who are you?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I've done that my mom's like, that's why it's good when she can watch something like Mulan. It's like, oh, okay, he's only bad at the end because of the witch, but
Yeah, family, man. Sometimes they get you get so immersed right into the role, and you're like, oh my God, is that my kid?
yeah.
um, um, if you, let's see here's another question. We alluded to this earlier. If your character is able to heal himself with his regeneration and healing powers, if you were to come back, hypothetically, if you were to come back, do you think that the Dragon King would seek revenge on his own daughter, or would he try to mend the relationship, the father and daughter relationship? What do you think the Dragon King would do?
I mean, hypothetically speaking, I think if Dragon King got stabbed, I think he's gonna come back at you. I don't think he's gonna be too happy, but I have no idea. So, but,
I agree with you, man. I totally do. I don't think there's going to be any, fatherly love there and advice.
yeah,
Say, honey, don't stab me in the back again in the future. I
yeah,
think he's gonna come after her, right?
yeah.
Totally. What was your reaction when you read that your daughter was going to stab you in the back?
Luckily I was prepared for it. Jeff had pulled me aside and told me, so I was like, okay, cool. And it's a great twist. And I think that was the great thing about the end. Like there was a pretty decent body count, so you're like, whoa. So it's great. We started with a big body count, we ended with a big body count. So I think it's a nice bookend.
There was such a big body count there that were you thinking like, oh, is this a set of John Wick or?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that many people get killed. Like John Wick is setting records. Like I think he just killed like 200 people.
Oh man, that's awesome. Um, if you could play any other DC character, who would it be and why?
Hmm. I mean, it would never happen, but I mean, Batman would be damn fun to portray. But you know, it's but you know, there's a lot of other. You know, Flash would be a lot of fun as well. But yeah, Batman would always be a ton of fun to do. But yeah, that's I don't see that in the cards anytime soon. But yeah, it'd be cool.
Never say never, man.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Multiverse,
You're right.
man.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
Multiverse.
It's true.
So you're in the right place right now, man. Let me tell you, right place
Yeah.
at the right time. That multiverse. I would even drop some hints to Jeff, or I would try to bribe the writers, man. You know, hey, man. What advice would you give if you could give any advice to your character? What advice would you give to the Dragon King?
Look out behind you.
Yes, yes. Watch your back, man. Watch your back. And here's another question, but I'm sure you can't answer this because of the NDA. But I'm going to ask it anyway because someone put in, someone submitted it. Did Dragon King actually care about Cindy, or did he just use her to get information from Henry?
I mean, like we talked about earlier, I think Dragon King does care about her in the way that he can. You know, I think he was, when he shows her affection at one point during one of the episodes, I think it was 106, when he's like, "You are my greatest, you know, experiment." You know, that's his version of "I love you." And yeah, he did care for her. Yeah, he's just he's not a hugger. That's all.
That would be awkward, right? That would be totally
actually,
awkward.
here's another little known thing about Dragon King. I took out many an eye with my collar when I was actually trying to hug people, because it's perfectly lined up to take out an eye. I've taken out Jess, I've taken out Leah Thompson, I've taken out tons of people. That's why at the end I started putting tennis balls on the end of my collar, so I wasn't hitting people in the eye when I hugged them.
Oh my God. That's insane, dude. Wow, when you said Leah, she directed that episode, and
oh yeah, and when I said goodbye to hug her, I was like, right in the eye.
Were you thinking, oh my God, I just heard Miss McFly?
Oh yeah, like talk about another thing where I was like geeking out and I didn't let it show. I remember first day we were eating lunch. She's like, "May I join you?" I was like, "Sure." And I didn't talk about anything Back to the Future, even though I was like, I wanted to ask so badly. But I was like, "How was your day going?" You know, I just say the dumbest things because all I want to do is like, "Tell me about Back to the Future. Tell me about it." But,
you know, I discussed this last week with Mishka from The Boys, the whole 6 degrees of separation theory, right? And
yeah.
you're part of it now, man, because you work with Jason Lee and you work with Leah Thompson.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
That's awesome, dude.
And I worked with Eric Stoltz, who was the original.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I loved him in The Mask. That movie was so touching, man.
Yeah.
Loved him in that. That's awesome. Let's see. Who went? I think that was it. I think we might have a question here in the chat. Let's see. Oh, let's see if you can answer this. I don't know if you can answer this.
When do we get a trailer for Shang-Chi? I don't know. You know, I think a lot of things have been put on hold. It's going to be exciting, though. Talk about a movie with some people of color that look like me. I'm so excited that they're making it. I know a lot of the people that are in it, so it's going to be crushed. And the lead is Canadian, so that's another bonus.
You know, I'm so happy for the Canadian actors. Recently, I've interviewed, I interviewed Ken Hall, who's in Umbrella Academy.
Yeah.
He hails from Toronto. Mishka Tabo, who hails from Toronto. I believe you hail from Toronto.
I grew up in the East Coast, but I went to a lot of my family are in Toronto. So.
Oh, okay. You know, I'm so happy because it's awesome. You know, the productions are not just out here in LA anymore. You know, and there's so many incentives, right? Georgia, Vancouver, Toronto. That's great. It's giving a lot of opportunity out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Toronto. I mean, The Boys is in Toronto. So much of the CW stuff is Vancouver. It's all over the place. Canadians, we're everywhere. You just don't know we're Canadian.
I have a Canadian buddy that does the sound over in Vancouver. He does the sound for Legends of Tomorrow.
Oh wow.
He did the sound also for Sky. I believe it's called Skyfall. That's going to be premiering on ABC.
Okay.
You know, I love the Canadian attitude, man. I love everything about the vibe up there, man. And
Yeah,
I
real
hope
chill.
I hope to visit up there soon.
You should, man. Go to Vancouver, go to Montreal, go to Toronto. They're all great cities in their own way.
Nelson, were you a fan of the Arrowverse, excuse me, or now it's called the CW verse? Were you a fan of
Yeah.
it prior to landing this role?
Honestly, I didn't watch a ton of it. I watched a few episodes of it. The DC stuff was, Titans was the first real thing that I really got into. That was awesome. But yeah, unfortunately, I didn't watch a ton of the Arrowverse stuff. But yeah, it was always really great when I watched it. But yeah, I'm kind of clueless on a lot of the things that's transpired. But definitely something I should be watching when I have all this time doing nothing.
So, you know, I don't know if you know this, but on the Flash, they did do a musical version of the Flash. You know, I don't know how your singing chops are, but would you be open to doing
Hell yeah!
a
Actually,
music?
I love singing. I've done musicals. Yeah, actually, funny enough, I was almost doing a Bruce Lee musical way back in the day on Broadway, and then it got kind of shut down and it went away. But yeah, that singing is always great. I love musicals, man. I didn't
That's
know.
awesome, dude.
It's always it's fun when a show has gotten to the point where they can do a musical. You're like either they jump the shark or they're like, oh no, that's good. We'll do that.
Would you be open to a crossover with any of the other shows? Would that, I
Heck
mean,
yeah,
and we're hypothetically speaking here because we don't know if you're coming back yet. We don't
yeah,
know.
exactly, exactly. All hypothetical. Good. I'm dead. But yeah, no, I'm always open to anything. This it's such a fun world to play in. Any chance to keep going in any, it would be awesome. Or to put on a new suit, that'd be fun too.
You have a fan question down there. I don't see if you can see it, Nelson. Do you see
Okay,
it?
this is the Stargirl. Let's get that grunny. Yeah, look, I mean, it's my daughter's gonna be a huge part of that show. Like, Meg's gonna kill it as Shiv. And Eclipso is gonna be a lot of fun. I mean, Eclipso, the Shade. There's gonna be a lot of cool things I think in season 2. That's gonna be. But Eclipso is probably the one I'm looking forward to the most. And see who Eclipso takes over. That's gonna be fun.
Man, Eclipse was so powerful, man.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah. So.
OP, man, OP.
Yeah,
Uh,
so that's that character. It's fun. I do know Calypso, so yeah. When I heard that, I was like, that's so cool.
I
And
can't
then
wait, man.
yeah,
So excited for that. Nelson, I just got to talk about something that's near and dear to your heart, and that has affected my family as well. You're an advocate for, you know, lung cancer
yeah.
awareness, and my uncle, unfortunately, lost his battle to it, and I just want to thank you for doing that because it means a lot to me personally.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's one of those things. It's unfortunate when you start championing it. It's because it affects you, and it's affected someone very close to me and my family. And it's tough. Comes out of nowhere, and you don't expect it, and you need to rely on some of the care that here in Canada is phenomenal. I can't say enough about what they've done, and you got to support them, because and bring awareness, and it's not going away, and yeah, it's vicious, but yeah, finding some hope in it is always a good thing.
From the bottom of my heart, man, I thank you for doing
Thank you.
that.
Yeah, thank you.
It means so much to me, man. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
to me too, man.
Let's end on this. What do you want to tell your fans out there, man? Do you got any projects going on that you want to let all your fans know?
I mean, right now, I keep watching. Stay tuned for Stargirl 2. I mean, it's regardless if I'm there or not. Keep watching. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see what they do season 2. And yeah, no, I've got a few films coming out, but I'm not sure when they're going to be and what they're going to be released. Got about 3 coming out, but yeah, stay tuned on my Insta at Malenki, and yeah, I always have updates. But yeah, watch Mulan when it comes. It's going to be free in December on Disney Plus if you haven't watched it yet. And yeah, Stargirl, season 2. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you so much, Nelson. I
Thank you.
truly appreciate your time, man,
It's my
and
honor, man.
thank you so much for everything you do, man, and I wish you
Thank you.
nothing but luck.
Yeah. Thanks, brother.
And I hope to have you back in the future after another project.
Yeah, man.
Um,
You know where to get me.
Thank you so much. Once again, you guys, make sure you follow Nelson's Instagram account. Amazing actor. I can't wait to see more of his work. Just an amazing human being. And thank you, everyone, for joining our Speedcast interview session today. Nelson, I wish you, much health and success. And, thank you so much for everything.
Thank you so much, Julio. Same to you, brother. All right, man.
Thank you. Take care, man. Have a good one.
Thanks. You too.
Take care.